someone to talk to and you don't know what to do, call us 214-4400 when you're feeling all alone and they turn their back on you. Call us 214-4400. Call us 214-4400. Call us 214-4400. Call us.
You're listening to the Kind Counseling Podcast. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Now back to the show.
Welcome to the Kind Counseling Podcast. This is your host, Cammie Roberts, and we got another great podcast for you guys. Let me start up.
Take two.
Take two, right. Okay. Welcome to the Kind Counseling Podcast. It's your host, Cammie Roberts, and today we got a great show for you guys. But before we get into the show, let's welcome my co-host. First, we got the beautiful Danya Roberts. How you doing, Mrs. Roberts?
Oh, am I allowed to clap?
Yes, you are, of course.
It's all right. And of course, the one and only Mr. Big Al from VA. How you doing, sir? All right.
Yes.
So we got beautiful weather out here, and how you guys doing today? Before we introduce our guests, how are you guys doing today?
Good.
We're doing good. I'm doing good. I
Little
just
bummed
came
the
from
Knicks lost.
Wait, two people. Wait, what?
Oh.
Womp womp.
Wait a minute, Alan, you said something about the Knicks?
I said I'm a
You
little
said they
bummed
lost.
because the Knicks lost.
It's all right, man. Orange and blue skies.
But wait a minute. Shouldn't you guys be used to that though? Have
No,
they
they're
been
winning
on a
now.
winning streak?
Hey.
Oh.
Hey.
Sorry.
Hey. All right, listen.
Sorry,
Well-
Big Al.
It's all right.
So of course we have a wonderful guest for you guys as always, and we just want to mention that the Kind Counseling Podcast, it's a mental health empowerment as well as spiritual insight. And today we have a special guest. We would like to welcome the one and only Christine Robinson. How are you, Ms. Robinson? All right.
Welcome.
I'm doing well. How are you today?
We're doing good. All the way from
Colorado.
Colorado.
Wow.
Right.
We're going national now. Where
Yeah.
in Colorado are you?
Colorado Springs.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's the home of Pikes Peak.
Okay. Do they
Yeah.
have skis
Oh, yes.
over there?
No, they don't ski here. That's further north, like Denver or past Denver. But no,
Okay.
we
And
don't ski here.
And how far are you from Denver?
About an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. About that.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
I want to go to Colorado because, as a kid, I used to love John Denver.
Hello. We're doing a podcast. Hello.
Oh, serious. This is part of it. This is part of the podcast. I used to love John Denver. And so he had this one song that he used to sing about Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. So I always wanted to go to Colorado. So maybe we need to pay you a visit soon.
Yeah. Yes.
And you can take us to Denver so we can go skiing.
Okay.
I know Black folks don't ski, but we're going to ski.
Oh, actually, they do. There's a big convention of melanated people who do ski here.
Oh,
Very
really?
popular.
Well, that's good
Yeah.
to know.
I was
Okay.
told about them. Yes, and I
Okay.
met a few of them. So yeah, they have their own ski club.
Okay.
Like
Black people moving on up.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Y'all need like a room or something? Like, what's going on?
No, we're good.
All right. So, Ms. Robinson, tell us a little bit about yourself before we jump into some questions.
Let's see. Okay. I don't know. Do I start where I came out of my mother's womb and all that? Or do I start?
Yeah, wherever you want to start.
Okay. Well, first my dad, he met my mom, and then they loved each other, and then, I came, and then the stork brought me or something. Okay, so I don't know. Like, is this okay? Let me ask you first.
Yeah.
am I allowed to say lots of words, or do I have to keep it nice and clean for families and stuff like that?
We'd prefer if you kept it nice and clean for family.
Family
Yeah,
show.
we prefer. If you-
Okay,
Okay.
I can do.
I mean, worst case scenario, we could always bleep you out if we need to.
Okay, sounds good.
But well, tell us like where you from, like where you born and raised. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing.
Okay, I lived most of my life in St. Louis. My parents brought me up there. Um, my mom was Guyanese. My dad is from Suriname. Um,
Oh,
yeah, he's from Suriname. Um, but I lived most of my life in St. Louis. I would say that. And I was raised in a Christian home. My dad is a pastor, so I was a PK, or I still am a PK. I guess you could say that. PK means pastor's kid. Let's see what else. I have a sibling, a brother that's older than me. I have a brother that's younger than me and a sister younger than me. So there were four of us.
Okay.
Um, my dad was a pastor with the Church of the Nazarene, and every 2 to 4 years, something like that, the church members would vote about whether or not to keep him on as pastor. Well,
Mm.
whenever they would have those votes, there would always be 4 no's, because you would have to write on a paper yes or no, fold it, put it in a basket, and they would get it out, count it, and they would always call out 4 no's, and it was always his 4 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, we always made sure to vote no.
whoa, 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 whoa. Stop the presses. I got a question.
Wait.
Pops again, no support.
You all voted no?
Yes, we voted no because it is a terribly heavy-some burden being a pastor's kid, because everybody expects the best out of you, and if you do anything wrong, they're gonna go tell your dad. I remember when I was a kid, our neighbors, they knew my dad was a pastor, and I was at school and I said the word DAMN. Can I say that word? I can't say it, can I? Can I?
I told you we could bleep it out.
Okay. Well, that word, I just spelled it, so that's good enough.
All right.
So I said that word because I was really mad at my neighbor for making us lose in kickball at school. And so I said that word, and he said, when we go home, I'm going to tell your dad you cussed today. And I said, go ahead. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, it was very stressful being a pastor's kid. And then pastors back then are not like pastors now. No, my dad, he's a type of pastor, like if any of his members are going through something, he's immediately there for them. He's there at their side. So his own family, his sons, his daughters, and his wife are usually last. That's how it was in our household. So his parishioners, they were first. The members were always first. And so it was a lot, having to share your dad with everybody else. But
Yeah.
so that's the way that I grew up. My mom, she was diagnosed with what do you call it? Manic depression. She was manic depressive.
Okay.
She had a lot of issues with that. Later in life, I talked to her about why that happened, but she went through a lot in her life. And namely, she went through, rape. And I think that hurt her. And I think that hurts a lot of women. And I think that, and I know that it was hard for her to forgive herself. And I talked to her about that. It was hard for her to forgive herself in the rape, but I told her that it wasn't her fault. I feel like I guess a lot of people go through hardship like that, and that's why it's important to do counseling. That's why it's important to get it out. So if you're not a person who gets things out, it's good to go to a counselor so you can get it out, right? Let's see, but living with my mom, I guess it made me grow up quickly, because there were times that she wasn't able to do things as a mom would do. And especially when she had to take that medication and stuff, it made her very like jittery, somebody's going to come after me, somebody's going to get me. And so it wasn't very healthy for her, and she didn't like taking it. And I remember, when I was young, there was a time that she took it and she was hiding in the kitchen. And I was like, why are you hiding? And she said, they're coming, because she was taking these drugs. And they call them side effects, but really they're main effects. Okay. They're main effects.
Mm.
I don't know why they say side effects, but it's the main effect of the drug. But I do remember later in life that she, when I was about age 16, she wrote me a letter. And because when I was growing up in school, I didn't want to bring any of my friends home. We didn't bring anybody home with us because you don't know what she's going to do. You don't know what's going to happen. So it was kind of like, oh, you're kind of like on shells, walking on eggshells. But when I finally came to a place where I was able to just say to people, yeah, my mom's manic depressive, she has a problem. When I started telling people, that's when I realized that a lot more people understood. I said that to one of my friends in high school, and she said, oh, my mom is too. I said, really? I didn't know that. And so we were able to connect on that because I didn't know because she never let me come over her house. I never went over her house, right? And she didn't come over my house, right? So it was interesting. So sometimes when you're going through something, it's a lot. It's very freeing to tell other people. It's very freeing. And yet, even if you tell somebody, because you know that there are always haters out there, there are always haters who are going to want to, see you not do well or want to see you fail in life. And so I guess you do need to be careful who you share things with. But at the same time, it's good to get it out. It's good to get it out. It makes you stronger.
Yeah.
So what else? Let me think.
So Christine, let me just interject and just interrupt you. I just want to go back a little bit to something that you said. So you said you're a pastor's kid. Shout out to pastor's kids. I'm one too. So I totally understand what you're talking about. But what I wanted to ask you is two things. So first of all, when you were growing up, right, were you guys allowed to like go to parties? Were you guys allowed to hang out? Were you guys allowed to have parties? See, the guys are laughing, right? They're already laughing.
I'm from a heathen
Her
home.
reaction.
Because
Well, kinda.
and I know what that face is about, right? But I want to hear your perspective because I know what we had to deal with growing up. So I just want to hear your perspective. And the other thing was, did your mom vote for your dad, or did she vote against him too?
No, apparently she voted for him because there was only 4 no's. And yeah, because there was only 4. It was always ever 4. And maybe on those days too, there was a lot of times where she missed church. There was a lot of days where she missed going to church. And people would always like, what's wrong with your mom? And it was, we were always like, oh, she's not well, she's at home and stuff like that. And it was very freeing when I finally said, she's crazy. I don't know, she's nuts. Something's wrong with her, But because, I was a kid growing up. It felt good to be able to just say, yeah, something's wrong with her. That's why she's not here. But she wasn't that way all the time. And that's the amazing thing. I remember she got healed. She was healed from it. And it was a particular day where my siblings and I and my oldest brother, at the time, she wasn't his wife. She was his fiance. But we all got in the basement and we started praying for my mom. And I remember praying for my mom, and all of us were standing around in a circle praying for her. And that was the last time I remember praying for her mental health. And she was healed. She didn't have any problems after that. But at that time, I was in my 20s. I was in my early 20s then. And she was fine. She was absolutely fine. My mom did pass, though. She did pass later with cancer. So she did pass from cancer. I think it's 10 years ago now. Yeah, but I really, really had, I always felt like I didn't really have a mom when I was younger because of her illness. I felt that way. But the thing is that, and that's what made me grow up fast. That's what made me grow up fast.
Yeah.
I felt like I was the mom for my siblings, for my younger brother and my younger sister. I felt like I was their mother. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
So, and I'll say this too, now, just in case, because, people will listen to your story and go, that's not true. You weren't my mom, if others listen, but it's what I felt like. You understand? So it's your perspective is your reality. So
Right.
that felt like my reality. That was my
Mm.
perspective. Okay,
Yeah.
so what else did you ask? How did we grow up? Like, were we allowed to go to parties? Absolutely not.
I got that from your face.
Absolutely not.
Right,
Okay.
right,
Wow.
right.
I
Did
did
you all
not.
celebrate birthdays?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We
Okay.
celebrated birthdays and did
Okay.
the pagan Christmas and the all the pagan Easter and all the
Okay.
Christian pagan style holidays, but that we can get into Christian paganism later. But yeah, we can do that stuff later. But all that pagan stuff, yeah, we did it. We did it.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, we did all that stuff, but when it came to like I never went to a prom. I didn't do stuff like that. I didn't
Yeah.
go to dances. I didn't
Yeah.
do things like that. And I used to thought I missed out, but actually now that I'm older, I'm glad that I didn't, because I probably would have ended up pregnant. God only knows. Anyway,
Mm.
yeah. So when I got married, I was a virgin, and my husband, when I got married to him, his name was Eric. He was a virgin, and he was a pastor's kid too.
Mm.
Wow.
Yes. So
Uh,
yeah, so both of us were raised very, very strictly. And we decided, and my dad was raised strictly. But when my dad and my mom raised me, they were strict with certain things, but the thing they weren't strict was teaching us to ask questions. Teaching us to ask questions, to question authority. So just
Mm.
because somebody has on, a badge doesn't mean you're just supposed to respect them. You need to ask questions. You give
Mhm.
respect where respect is due.
Mhm.
If you don't respect me, I ain't gonna respect you.
Okay.
So our parents taught us to ask questions. They taught us to give respect, yes. But if some days, like, if your parent says, hey, you need to go and sweep the floor or something like that, and you're like, well, I can't do it now, and this and that. Don't tell me you can't do it. Slap, slap. You need to go sweep the floor. No, my parents weren't like that. They were like, oh, why can't you do it? Oh, you're doing this other thing? Okay, we'll sweep it afterwards. They weren't ridiculous, okay?
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
that we did have to memorize a lot of scripture. We
Mm.
memorized lots growing up. And after church on Sundays, we would always sit with my dad around the table. We'd sit around and we would critique his sermons. So we would tell him he did a bad job, or we didn't like what he did, or we didn't like what he said, and then we would compare it to other scriptures. So that's what we would do on Sundays. We would have arguments, right? And it was fun. I love doing that. Yeah, I mean, arguments, but it's like discussions, but it was really, really fun. I enjoyed that. And
Mhm.
but the thing is that and that taught me, that's because of where that led me to where I am today, because that's what I do. Okay, that's what I love to do. I'm not an attorney, but I help people with their legal situations. And because there's always a way out of something, whether it's child support, whether it's a mortgage, a car note, there's a way to get out, but you got to know what you're doing, and you got to study, you got to learn the laws. So that's what I do. That's what I do right now, but I really enjoy what I do. And I
Okay.
feel like it's not work for me because I'm actually doing something I love. And
So what is that called? So what is that kind of like is there like a name for it, or is it just something that you're like doing just on your own?
I do it in concert with my fiance.
Okay.
I work with him, and we have a business together, and so we help people, and our clientele is word of mouth. So
Okay.
like we help people like if they're going through foreclosure, if
Mhm.
they're getting their car taken, we help them to keep their car. We help them to stay in their house. So that's the thing that we do, and we use the law to do it. Um,
Oh.
right. So that's what we do. But I would say let me see. I want to get back to the childhood stuff, but anyway, yeah,
Yeah, go
because
ahead.
me about that. What is it like being a PK? Now, I don't know what PKs are like now, because I know pastors are a lot different now. Um,
Mhm.
and I will say this too, and I will make this clear, and this will be the like, what? because most people say pastors' kids are like wild and they're, they do crazy stuff to get attention or whatever they do. But my siblings and I weren't like that. I mean, we adhered to everything, but we got to a place in life where I'll speak for myself. I got to a place in life where I started to question things that we were being taught. And my husband did too. Eric did too. And so we left the church years ago. I left the church 18 years ago so far. And
Wow.
it's the most freeing experience. I love it, love it. Anyway, but I will say this, that when I left, I was seeking, what is it, God, that you want to teach me? What do you want me to know? And my prayer was always this and is always this, and that is, whatever truth that there is, I pray, God, that you give me truth no matter what it leads to. Because sometimes people ask for truth, but when they get it, they turn away from it. So if you turn away from it, if you turn away from truth when God gives you truth, if you turn away from it, then how is he going to give you more? So what I did was ask God for truth. My husband and I asked God for truth. And no matter what it was, that's why I was saying to you like about the holidays and how pagan they are, because Christians don't really, you just listen to the pastor. Whatever the pastor tells you, you just do. And the pastors let the people have Christmas. They know where it comes from if they went to cemetery. I call it cemetery instead of seminary. But yeah, they
You know
know.
what?
Yeah, I know that's mean. But anyway, it is what it is. But I will say this, that they tell people what they want to hear. Okay. You want to know that Christmas is a good thing or Easter is a good thing. But when you actually study where it came from, it is not. It is pagan. But here's the thing. I say to each his own. So whatever it is that you decide to do, you need to do it. But when you know better, do better.
Mm-hmm.
When you know better, do better. But I will say, so I have, man, I'm talking a lot, aren't I?
So you said you left the church, but you haven't left your faith,
There
right?
you go. Right. I
Okay,
haven't left my faith. I
Okay.
haven't left God, but
Okay.
I left the church. Yes, I did.
Okay. And so you now no longer are attending any church.
I'll attend now and again sometimes, but no. And when I did go to church here, my dad was living here and I wanted to make sure to go with him. Like, how the Bible teaches you to do things for the weaker brother?
Mm-hmm.
The weaker brother thinks that drinking is a sin, then don't drink around him because he doesn't know. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If the weaker brother thinks that, some particular thing is a sin to him, then don't do it around him because he's weak. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if the weaker brother thinks that you need to go to church, okay, and they want you to go with them because they think your soul is destined for hell, then go with them because they think that. Okay. But I don't think that. I know that. Okay.
Okay.
So
Can you I'm sorry, not to cut you off. I'm just super duper curious. Can you walk us through what it was that made you leave the church per se? Because I mean, I know you mentioned the holidays, and there is a lot of controversy around holidays, but was that it, or was there something more?
no, it started there. It
Okay.
started with the holidays. It started with Christmas and Easter. Because my husband and I were researching it. Why do we do these things? Where did it come from? Like I said to you, that was what, 17. My youngest is almost 19, so I would say it was about 19 years ago. And in the church, I was the youth, if you want to say youth pastor, I was the head of the youth. So once I got pregnant with my youngest, and when I had my youngest child, I stopped going to church. So that's when I stopped going. I found it as my way out. Because I was studying on my own and reading on my own. There are so many things that we learn, like in the scripture where the church, I don't want to say the pastors, but I'll say the church teaches you something a little bit different than what it actually is. Like, I'll give you an example, like tithing. So everybody thinks that tithing, you're supposed to give 10%, right, of your income to a church. But when you read about tithing, so if you just study the scripture and you look up the word tithe and you start reading every single place where tithe is and what tithing is about, you'll realize that tithing is about food. You're supposed to give because the people were growing. You're supposed to give 10% of the food and bring it into the storehouse.
Mm.
So it wasn't about money, because why does God need money? And then the other question is, so I'm telling you, so it was one piece of information that led to another, that led to another, that led to another. So then I can ask the question, what is money? What is money? So all of these things led to where I am today, but it's asking questions. And that's something, it's funny because I was talking to my dad maybe a year or two ago, and he felt like, oh my gosh, I think I made such a big mistake, because all of his children, all of us, none of us attend church.
Wow.
None of us did, because all of us were studying. We were studying the scripture.
Okay.
Now, where in the scripture does Jesus tell you to go to church? Aren't you guys going to give me that scripture? Do not forsake the assembling of yourselves together.
Well,
Right.
okay, all right.
Right.
So we're not on a podcast to debate scripture.
Yes,
but
we're not. So yeah.
we're hearing your story.
Okay, that's my story.
Right. I
But-
thought you were taking it somewhere. That's why I didn't say anything.
No, I mean, well, I'm just saying, because my dad said that, don't forsake the assembling of yourselves together. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not. The two of us are talking right now. We're
Okay.
talking right now on truth. We're talking about truths,
Okay.
So that, to me, I guess you can take it to mean to go there, but in the church itself, this is my opinion, there are lots of devils in the church. There are lots of people who are who wear masks.
Mhm.
There are
Mhm.
lots. And I also said this, and I felt like this is, when people are going through something in church, they don't want to tell anybody else. Do you know why? And I felt like I was telling my dad this. When people are going through something, like let's say, like for instance, my second son, he went to jail. Now, if I were in church right now and my son went to jail, I wouldn't tell anybody. I'd be like, oh no, I gotta hide that, because if somebody knows my son went to jail, then they're gonna say, well, you're a sinner, and that's why your son went to jail, and this happened to you, and that happened to you. Just like, remember Job and his friends, and how they're all telling him, oh, this happened to you because of this, and that happened to you because of this, and you're bad, and this, right? Okay, well, everything happens to the glory of God, and it doesn't, and the sun shines on the just and the unjust. The rain falls on the just and the unjust. So just like a woman who is holy, her son could go to jail. Guess what? A woman who's unholy, her son could go to jail. So just like, I'm just saying, so it's not necessarily because you're a Christian, you're not going to go through this or that. Because you believe in God, you're not going to go through. You're going to go through stuff just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody else. And it doesn't mean that God loves you more or less. It doesn't mean that.
So
But
Christine, let me ask.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll let you finish. I thought you finished. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
You got to go through things because it makes you stronger. You have to go through lessons in life. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person because you went through a learning experience. And to me, it feels, this is my opinion.
Yeah.
It feels as if people who are in the church feel like, oh, well, because you did this or that happened to you, you must be a bad person. You're a sinner. You understand? Instead of you're learning and you're going through life, learning life's lessons. So I feel, I guess.
But Christine, do you feel that this is your like the experience you had at your dad's church, or do you think that's every church?
That's every church.
Mm.
All right, so let me ask a question. Yes. All right, so
Mhm.
Christine, right? So
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you more from a therapeutic perspective, right, as opposed to debate. All right, so
Okay.
how do you think? Because as I'm listening to you, it sounds like it made it hard for you to trust authority figures because of meaning in terms of like how this dynamic, right? Meaning like the people who were leading the situation, the adults in the situation, they either provided or didn't provide information that was like helpful to you, right? In the sense that you felt like it sounds like you're saying like you felt like you were lied to. That's what it
Right.
sounds like.
Well,
Like
I felt like just like how parents will tell their kids that they're Santa Claus and they lie to them.
right.
That's there's a tooth fairy and stuff like that. I don't understand why you would lie to your child. And so to me, no, it's not necessarily that I was lied to, because when I talked to my dad about Christmas, because that's where it started.
Okay.
That's where it started. When I talked to him and I talked to my father-in-law, my husband and I talked to his dad about Christmas, and he said, yes, I know it's pagan. I know that. Well, how come you don't teach that? Why don't you tell the people that? Oh, well, they don't need to know that. I don't want to tell them that. They could still have their Christmas. What we'll do is, and what the church did was this, let's just change this pagan thing into something that, oh, well, you see, the red represents the blood of Jesus, and the white represents purity, and the green represents life. And I could say the yellow represents, I don't know, mucus. It doesn't
So,
matter. They're
so
just
you
saying stuff.
so you felt like if I could catch them on this principle, then the whole thing must come down. That's how you looked at it.
No, it's just that after there was one thing after the next, that once I studied it, it was like, okay, it's not exactly as you told me then. It's not it's not what I thought.
Okay.
And so it's not that it made me angry. It's actually a good thing, because I think that, how the scriptures are written, it says ye little children. So there are those who are children and who
Right.
are on milk, and they're
Right.
never ready for the meat of the word.
Right.
There are those who are on meat and they can take the meat, but they can also understand and drink the milk and be fine. But if
Mhm.
you give a baby, someone who's a baby in the faith, meat, they'll throw it up or they'll get
Right.
sick because they're not ready for it. So I felt like the church is a place for those on milk. It's for those on milk, because it's like
Okay.
they're never growing. I don't see them ever getting deeper into the how do I put it? I don't see them growing and getting deeper into the things of God and truly understanding things.
But
Because to me,
mm,
the Christian religion it's one where, and they like to say that, the Muslims are bad and everybody else is bad, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that anymore.
so
And
okay.
yeah.
So how come? I mean, all right. So you came to this revelation that they taught us incorrect stuff, or
Hmm.
maybe they didn't tell us the whole story. So how come you didn't say, you know what, let me tell the people and stay and teach the people in the church what's really true, as opposed to just saying I'm done with the whole thing? Because you were the youth pastor.
And
Yeah.
that's a very good question, because when I sat down and I told my dad,
Yeah.
and my husband sat down and we talked to him about the things that we learned and why is it being taught this way, not just in your church and all the other churches. He said, well, come back and tell the people, right?
Okay.
Mhm.
And I said, no, I don't want to do that. Uh, I've always felt like my gift is in teaching. I love to teach.
Okay.
I love teaching. But the thing is, in order for you to be a good teacher, you of yourself need to study. So
Okay.
I felt like, oh my gosh, there's so much that I thought was true is not true. I need to go and I need to remember how Jesus went into the wilderness 40 days and 40 nights?
Hmm.
Yeah, my
Okay.
husband and I, we left St. Louis and we went to Arkansas we left St. Louis. We left where all of our family was. And we moved to a place that was way out in the country. We moved to a place where we were the only melanated people in the whole town.
Wow.
Okay.
We were the only ones. We moved to a place where, you know, my family was scared that they would burn crosses on our yard, but they never did anything like that. They didn't do anything like that. But if they hated you in Arkansas, you would know automatically. They just wouldn't talk to you.
Okay.
We had a neighbor that lived near us, and when he passed our house, he always would turn his back towards our house. I never saw his face. Then
Wow.
one day I was talking to another neighbor, and when I was talking to him, a guy comes through the street with a tractor. He's on a big tractor, and he stops to talk to my other neighbor. And then when he drove away, the neighbor I was talking to said, "Oh, that's such and such." And I said, "That is? I've never seen his face. I've only seen his back." Because when he passes by my house, he purposefully turns his back towards our house the whole way walking towards our house. And I told that particular neighbor, the man who does that to us, he's a racist. He does not like us. And he said, "Oh, no, that's not true." But then one day he finally admitted, "Yeah, the man is racist. You were right." You know? But the thing is that, yeah, we moved to that place so that we could have it's a getaway so that we could go and seek God and seek Christ. That's it. That's why I didn't stay.
Okay.
That's why. Because I felt like I couldn't grow anymore. I
Okay.
felt like I'm gonna give you, oh, this will help people. My daughter, she just got a job, and she just started working for Nike. And so this is what I'll say. She started working for them, and she told me in the interview, they asked her, "So why do you want to move from where you are now to our company?" And she said, "Well, it's like a plant." She said, "There are some plants that their roots overgrow the plant pot, and you have to take it out and replant it in a bigger plant pot." And I felt like the church, my roots were growing beyond that plant pot.
Okay.
And I needed to come out of that. And instead of even going into another plant pot, I needed to be planted in the earth itself. So I could have
Okay.
lots and lots of dirt. And I felt like the church was suffocating me. Do you
Okay.
understand that?
Yeah.
And I that's how I felt. So that's why I needed to get out of it. And
Okay.
right. And what's the word? Expand my horizons. That's what I need to do. So that's
All
why
right.
I did it. It's not so that I could get out and go and sin now. Ooh, let me go sin. No, it's not that, but it was so that I could learn because I'm a student a forever student. I want to be always learning, and I want to be around people who are always learning, and not
Okay.
people who are just, you know, saying, "Oh, you're bad because of this," or "You're bad because of that." You know, I don't want to be around that. I want to be around growth. So that's why I left. And
Okay.
so does that answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, I think it can be. I'm glad that you're taking the time to explain it because I think that for a lot of people, it's kind of like a knee-jerk reaction, right? Where you know, and I've experienced things in churches where it made me feel like I don't ever want to see another church in my life. So that's happened to me also, right? So, but I always say to people that when you go to the supermarket and you buy bad eggs, you don't stop going to the supermarket, right? You might go to another one, or you take the eggs back and talk to the manager and get a better one, right? You just don't, because you need it, right?
Right.
So, it's good. I think it's good that you explain that.
Mhm.
I got a
I
question.
guess.
I did have
Yeah.
a question. Do you
Yeah.
think you feel that way because the church was taking away your dad so much from you?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, I'm just curious.
No, I didn't know. I didn't feel that way because of that. I felt that way because, and even my siblings, it's not that. It's because we love to study. We love to find out what's the truth about not just things in the Christian religion, but also in fields like the medical field. What's the truth? What's really
Mhm.
going on? What's the truth in the legal field? What's really going on?
Yeah.
Why do things appear to be something that they're truly not? And why is it that, you know, people are losing their rights and seemingly losing their rights and losing their freedoms? You know what I mean? What's going on in society? And waking up, I guess, not being in that sleep state where you just, you know, if everybody says, "Oh, you have to do this," then you just do it. No, but the question is why? Why is everybody doing that? Why? You know,
Yeah.
so I guess that's um like I tell my kids or my offspring, the most important question that you could ever ask is why.
Mm.
That's the most important question you can ever ask. Why? So you want me to do this thing? Why? Why do I have to do that? And I taught my children to ask questions the same way that I was taught to ask questions. And there are people who, you know, they say, well, you shouldn't ask any questions. If an authority figure tells you to do this, then just do it.
So I
But
find that funny because
why?
my past job, I was in the military, and that's one question. Half the time, we don't have the time to answer why. So it was very frustrating when you do have young adults that ask why 20 million times, and we just don't have the time to be answering that question. So sometimes I think asking why, it depends on what you're asking why about, if that makes sense.
I agree. So like
Yeah.
if your child is crossing the street and you see a car but they don't see it, and you say,
Right.
"Get out of the street now,"
Right.
Right.
and then they just
Exactly.
need to do it.
Right.
So there needs to be you need to know when is the time to ask why. So it doesn't mean that asking why is something you should always do, because there are times when you just need to move, you need to go. And then there are
Mhm.
times when you need to sit still and go, why am I doing this? So there's a time for it. There's a time and a place for everything. So I do agree
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do
So
agree with you there.
so fast forward, you moved to Arkansas, and you mentioned that your husband passed. Obviously, like, could you tell us a little bit about that? Like
Yeah, I
how,
don't think I mentioned he passed yet, but I did.
yeah, you did.
I did?
Well, I thought you did.
No, I mentioned that my mom passed.
Mom passed. Yeah, but we obviously know.
Yes, you
He knows
obviously
the
know.
story.
You sure?
Yes, I let me see. I met my
We're gonna edit that out.
yeah, I remember actually, Cammie. I remember going to your wedding, and I remember my mom said to me after I went to the wedding, and I don't remember that part, but she said after I went to your wedding, I said, "Oh, I'm going to be married next year." That's what I said, and little did I know, I guess I was married the next year. But anyway, I met a very wonderful man, and like I
Yes.
told you, my husband was a PK. He did pass. He had cancer, and he got small cell lung cancer, and they said it's very, very rare. And they said that it's not a cancer that you get when you smoke, because he never smoked a day in his life. He didn't live with smokers or anything like that. It just, boom, happened to him. And by the time we knew what he had, it was already stage 4. And they told him he had 6 months to live. And the doctor told him he had 6 months to live. And at that time, we were in Texas. So, yeah, we moved around a lot. I like moving a lot because this world is too big to stay in one place one time. But I will say this. So when he got cancer, we made some major, major changes in our lives. We changed our diet. We stopped eating meat. We started eating vegetables, like just vegetables. Anyway, to make a long story short, because it is a very long story, um, they told him he had 6 months to die. He lived for about 5 years, and he passed. I think it is about 5 years ago, and my whole world crumbled because he was my very, very best friend. I mean, the best friend I ever had in the world, and let me think. And he gave me. I have 3 children with him, one of which is adopted, two are ours. And so there's a lot in there that I could go on with, with the adoption and having adopted children, because we adopted him when he was a baby. But I'll say this, my husband and I were like white on rice. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, you were. That's the right term.
That's right. Man, we were two peas in
Yes,
a
you
pod.
are.
We were like this. So
Yeah.
yeah, so we were very, very close. And I miss him, but I'll say this, when he passed, he said to me, before he passed, he said, "You're strong, you can handle this." Because I was like, no, don't leave me. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here without you. No. But he knows what I was thinking about, and I knew what I was thinking about, because I was thinking about my middle son, which is, he's adopted. And we could see, even when he was a little baby, we could see issues with him and problems with him. Like it seemed like he never could feel pain. Like if you spanked him, he just didn't feel pain. You know what I mean? So pain wasn't a teacher for him. Pain was never a teacher for him. So I had to find something else to teach him. All right. And but anyway, that's a whole nother path. We can go through that one later, but whew, I had some hard times with that one. But yeah, but now is a very good time in his life. So I'm so glad he went to jail. I'm so glad he went through all the stuff that he went through, because it taught him things that he needs to know now for life. I'm glad he didn't do it when he was in his 40s. I'm glad it's early on that he's learning the lessons, life lessons. But that's a whole nother story. We can go there later if you like. But but I will say, you're just smiling. Do you want me to stop now?
No, don't worry. I'm gonna stop you when I'm ready. Don't worry. Keep going. You're doing fine.
Yeah, so I
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Okay, it's good. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so I was going to tell you that when my husband passed, we moved from Texas to Colorado, so that when we got to Colorado, he could take what do you call it? I don't want to say marijuana. What do I want to say? Cannabis.
Right.
Cannabis oil is known to help with cancer.
Right.
By the time we got here, he decided to stop doing the diet that we were doing. And he said, "I'm not going to do that anymore." He just started eating anything. And then he said, let's go out, let's go visit, Pikes Peak, let's go visit the Seven Falls, let's visit all the sites in Colorado Springs. And I thought that was weird, because it wasn't like him to do that. And I didn't say anything, but I think that it's kind of like he knew he had to go, and to make room for something else. It's like he knew. And but he didn't tell me, because he knew I wouldn't accept it. And when he was in the hospital for 9 days before he passed, and I mean, he went into the hospital and never came out. It was 9 days. And people gave me advice, like the doctor told me, and I listened. I did, because I do ask questions, right? Like, why should I not take him home? Why? Because it's going to be really hard for you if you take him home. You're going to have to lift him yourself. You're going to have to do things yourself, and I couldn't do that. He's taller than me and everything. So I stayed at the hospital with him. And I think in those 9 days time until my family came to Colorado, I was able to go home once, take a shower, and go right back to the hospital, because I didn't want to leave him alone. And the thing is I couldn't accept that he was going, because I was like, no, God, how could you do this? No, no, no. You can't take this man from me. You can't. I don't think I'm strong enough to handle this. I can't, and my husband said, no, you can do it. You can. Before he passed, I had my kids go into the room with him and tell them what they appreciated about them, what they appreciate about him, and how much they loved him. And I had them go one by one, and I stayed with each one while they talked to my husband and to their dad. And after they were all finished, I said to my husband, "So are you still here because you're waiting for us?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "You're waiting for us to accept that you're going?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "So if I tell you that I accept that you're going, you're going to go?" He said, "Yes." So I said, "Oh, okay." You could go, right? I said,
Mm.
I guess we'll figure it out. You could go. So yeah, so I released him and let him go, and he passed the very next day. So, but that's what I was going to tell you is that he was if you knew him, he was an angel. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
he
Yes,
was
he
an
was.
angel.
Yes.
He
Yeah.
was an angel, and
Mhm.
he was a really great guy. And after he passed, I cried and cried and cried. I cried. I was in my closet. Didn't want my kids to hear me crying, so I come out and I'm like, I'm good. Okay, yeah, everything's fine. Yeah, but
Mm.
they're like, yeah, we know you're crying, Mom, but it was hard for me because I couldn't take care of their pain because I was going through so much pain.
Yeah.
And I will say I went to something called Grief Share. And if anybody who's listening to this has lost someone that you loved, whether it's a husband, a wife, brother, sister, I encourage you to look up Grief Share. I think it's griefshare.com. And it is a program where you get counseling, where you meet others who have lost people. And I was in a group with, I would say, about 9 other widows. I was the youngest
Wow.
and
Mm.
the only melanated woman there, but I was the youngest. And they were all these women lost their husbands. They're in their 70s and some in their 80s, and they're all like, I'm never getting married. And so I was like, I'm never getting married, because I was around them, like, I'm never getting married either. I can't love anybody like him. And I came home one day and I was telling the kids, yeah, I'm never getting married, because I open up, tell my kids everything. And they'd say, Mommy, stop saying that. Stop.
Mm.
And I say, why? And they say, because if you keep saying that, it's going to come true.
Mm.
Okay. I said, well, your dad was the best man. I can't meet anyone else like him. He was the best man ever. And they were like, stop saying that. They said,
Mm.
say that. Because if you say that, then everybody you meet you're gonna say he's not as good as Eric. He's not as good as Eric. And they said, Mommy, what you need to do is say that one day, if I fall in love again, I will remarry. That's
Mm.
what they kept telling me. My kids were encouraging me all the time. And they told me to find someone that is not like Eric. You need to find someone that is totally opposite of him. That way you will never compare him. And my kids, I'm telling you, you should listen to your kids sometimes, because they say some things. And you're like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes.
Right.
I'm telling you,
Yeah, I
wisdom.
got you. I got you.
Yes. So they told me that. And yeah, and I did find someone, and he is nothing like Eric. And his birthday is really close to Eric's birthday, which is amazing. So there are very little similarities between them, but he's nothing like Eric. And but I still love Eric, and I still love him. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So after your husband passed, the first guy you dated was just like that? You found just like that?
No. Okay, so let me get to that part of my life. Oh boy. No, so I thought that, I don't know how I'm gonna meet the next man in my life. I didn't know how am I gonna meet this guy, right? Anyway, I was playing on my phone. You have Words with Friends? You guys know that game?
Yes.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love that game.
Yeah.
Scammers use that app like crazy.
Mm.
Got on that app. I started playing a game, and it was a picture of a Caucasian man. And so we were playing, and then he said, hey, let's text on what was it? Google. It's Google. It's a Google app. I don't remember, because I don't have it anymore. So we started saying, hey, let's text. And, oh, maybe I came into your life, and saying all these beautiful things to me. And so, yeah, I fell for it. He was a scammer. I ended up going into debt about $92,000.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? Can you walk us through that?
Woo. Okay. I'll tell you. That was
I'm
something
curious
else.
about
Oh,
that too.
you know what? I kept his picture so I could show everybody. But
What? Can we?
Can I show
Please.
you?
Yes,
Oh, I
please.
Woohoo! Okay, so now I'm going to show you, but I'll say this. When you are sad and you're going through, even if you're strong like me, you can still hurt yourself.
So this was on the heels of Eric's death.
Yes,
Okay.
it
Okay.
was. So
Okay.
I was still sad. I still wanted to find someone to love me and who I can love because I got a lot of love to give. So yeah, so you're smiling.
You do have a lot
All
of
right.
love.
I love you, Cammie. Love you, Donna.
Oh my gosh.
We love you too, Christine.
Yes,
I
we
want to
do.
see the picture.
I'm looking. I gotta go way back in my phone because this happened in the year 2020.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought you had it like printed out next to you, right?
Yeah, I know. I thought you had like a wanted picture or
Yeah,
something.
like,
No, let me go really fast. Oh, you know what? I could just hit on years, can't I? Okay, perfect. Okay, so now I'm gonna tell you some stuff from the year 2020. What happened?
Okay.
Mm.
This guy was a
COVID time too, huh?
scam.
Yeah.
He was a scammer, and I took it. I thought he was telling me the truth. You know, some people warned me and I mean, he didn't try to take me away from my family or anything like that. I didn't send him any naked pictures.
Okay. Oh, well, okay, good.
Yes. let me
Thanks
tell
for
you
clearing
what-
that up. Thanks.
Well, I had to tell you that because you know what? Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you about this scammer. This scammer, this is him. This is the real guy who is the scammer. He actually gave me pictures of him after. He's African. Can you see him?
A little bit, yeah.
All right. Yes.
Yeah.
He's an African man. There he is. He's like 25. Right now, he's probably 27. And apparently, so he said, now, is it true? You know, because, you know, you can't believe somebody who all they do is lie, lie, lie. This guy right here, he started teaching me all the stuff that scammers do. He taught me so many things, and I am so thankful for him because
So hold on, wait a okay, no, go ahead. No, because I'm about to ask. So he was scamming you by teaching you what scammers do?
no,
Is that
no,
what you're
no,
saying?
no. When I first met him, I thought he was the guy, and I'm looking for the picture that he first showed me of who he was. Okay, because he said that he was something that he was not. And
Mm.
that's what, yeah, that's what got me. I'm looking for that picture because I want to show it in case he's still using that picture scamming people because I believe he's still doing it. Even though he said he wouldn't, I still believe he's doing it. And he calls himself David. His scam name was David. Oh, shucks. What was his name? David something. Let me look.
Mm.
Oh, let me look. Yeah, but this guy, let me tell you. I'm so sorry. I should have had this up already. I didn't think we would get into this, so you know I didn't.
Yeah.
So while you're looking for his picture,
Mm-hmm.
because we can multitask, can
Yes.
you walk us through how you
How I
ended
met.
up in debt? Not even how y'all met.
Because I was giving him all this money. And he kept saying that he worked
But
on
why?
He's because love makes you do stupid stuff. And I thought it was
So
this is a picture he used.
Oh wow.
He used that
Wow.
picture. He used this picture. He told me that his wife died. And he used pictures of kids. He told me he had 2 children. And he said that was his wife, and he said she was dead.
Did he
Wow.
know that your husband had died before he told you that?
Yeah, my husband was already gone.
No, I'm saying, did he know that?
Yes, because I told him.
Yeah, so he flipped it back and said that his what to try to make it got you.
Right. And he would send me like videos. I don't think I saved any of the videos. But let me well, I'll show you this. I saved all of this so that one day I could tell people once I was healed, I could tell people that's why I saved all of these pictures.
wow.
Now, let me tell you, because I'm going to tell you how they work, okay? They say, "Hey, baby, I love you, and we're meant to be together." Okay, and I work on an oil rig,
Right.
and I can't leave. I'm in the ocean, and since I'm there, I can't, I'm looking to see if I have any more pictures of this idiot. Yeah, but so, oh, sorry. Can I say idiot? Yeah. Okay, look. Yeah, he's an idiot. He's an idiot.
92K
But
though?
I have a heart for
Wait,
you.
we gotta get to that 92K.
Yeah, I'm
Go
like,
ahead.
I'm still talking
Yeah.
about
Okay.
92K.
Yes,
Yeah.
because this 92K came from my credit. Okay.
Okay.
When
So-
my husband passed, he didn't have insurance, life insurance. We didn't have life insurance.
Okay.
So all I had was just the money that was in my savings account. So I had several thousands in my savings, not very much, just a few. You know what I mean? You know, you have enough.
Yeah.
I had just a little in my savings, and then I had a lot of credit. I
Mm.
had several credit cards. So on one credit card, I could have charged it up to 25,000, another one 20,000. I had, you know, really good credit. So I used my credit cards, and he would ask me to send him gift cards. So
Mm.
he would say, if you
Tracy.
can, please send a gift card. But instead of sending it to him, he's like, and that's what I was looking at because I had pictures of the gift cards. So I would buy a gift card and I would scratch off the, you know, the thing on the gift card and send him a picture of the gift card. And so he was kept saying, oh, do that. Oh, I can't call you tomorrow because I don't have enough money. And could you send money? If you send it on a gift card, then I could give that to someone else and they could give me, you know, points, or they could give me some time on their phone because we're not allowed to have phones here on the oil rig
Mm.
in the
Mm.
ocean. We're not allowed to have this. We're not allowed to have that.
These
So
guys.
I know it sounds crazy. You guys, I know it sounds crazy. But when a woman is looking for love, when a
Mm.
woman is looking for love,
Mm.
she will go to the ends of the earth. And
Mm.
especially a woman like me. So I was like, he kept saying, oh, I'm gonna come, I'm gonna get off of the oil rig, I'm gonna come in December, you know, and all this kind of stuff. Oh, can you please take care of my kids? They're in a private school. He sent me a website, he sent me all this stuff. Now, here's the thing.
Wow.
Yeah, that story is a long story in and of itself. But I do want to say this to anybody else who's gone through it. When I went through it, I started telling everybody. I told my neighbor across the street, and he's a doctor. And I told him, I said, this guy took me for everything. And you know, this neighbor, you know what he said to me? He said, well, I never told anybody, but I've been through the same thing that you've been through.
Wow.
Oh.
He said, I gave my money to a woman. And
Wow.
she kept it, you know, they said it was a woman. She said she was a
Like
woman.
1 out of 10 people.
Yes, a lot of people go through that. I did not know.
Yeah,
You know, there are women who go through this and end up killing themselves because they end up
Right.
sending naked pictures to that guy. And that guy
Right.
is from Africa. He's in Nigeria. That's where he is. He got on video. He showed me where he lives. He showed me all the scammers that he's around all the time. He told me, don't ever send naked pictures. He said, because he said, I'm so glad you never sent me any. He actually talked to me, and we got to actually talk to each other. And I said to him, if you want me to forgive you, I said, send me back $1. $1. Because you know, when you get money the wrong way, you know, when you sow seeds like that, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. You know that, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah, so I technically made him a millionaire in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So wait. All right. So hold on. So how did you actually get to meet a scammer? I mean, like how did that actually happen?
Words with friends.
No. I mean, how did you actually get to meet the real person behind the picture?
Oh, how? I said
Yeah.
to him, I sent him a video of me crying.
Okay.
And he said, why are you crying? And I said, because I think you've scammed me. Because he kept saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and he wouldn't do it. One time he told me he was going to send me flowers. He actually sent me flowers, and he sent me a teddy bear or something. And most scammers don't do anything. They will never spend. And it's funny because somebody said to me, oh, so he bought you flowers with your own money? And a teddy bear with your own money? And I'm like, oh, yeah. he did."
That's the
Yeah.
thought that counts.
Yeah.
Stop.
You
So, but wait
guys,
a minute. I have so many questions.
Hey, we gonna be here all night. We gonna be here all night.
my
Hold on.
fiance, I let him meet my fiance face to face. Okay. And when he didn't believe that that was my fiance. He didn't believe that I was in love with anybody else. And because he kept telling me, Christine, I love you, I love you, I love you all the time. And I'm like, yeah, you love me sending you stuff. You love me sending you money. You
Right.
understand? But anyway, it's
So
it's
wait,
very,
Christine,
yes,
hold
dear.
up. So you said this happened in 2020, right? So how long were you sending him money? I mean, for like
months.
over how, huh?
Months.
So was it like more than a year or?
No, it wasn't more than a year. Thank God it didn't.
Okay. So just within the year of 2020, you were doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm just trying to understand the thinking behind it, right? So when he kept asking for money over and over and over again, I guess because you were still in grief, it didn't register with you that he just wanted
He
your
was
money.
cheating me. It never registered. And then the very last thing he did was send me a picture of a whole lot of money and saying that this money is his and all he needs to do is hire I can't even remember that story because there's so many false stories, but hire a this or that to help to take that money and to take it and put it in some bank somewhere. And if you send me this money, then I can hire somebody to take this money, the big thing of money, and put that to this other place. And all this stuff, he was saying all this stuff. But yeah, a scammer, they also do this. If you don't know, they use a lot of music to get to you. So that's how I learned about like all of the pop songs and stuff like that. So he used a lot of songs and music like what's that guy's name? Do you guys know the song I Have a Love for Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
He used that song. He used other songs to like draw me in.
Mm.
So
Mm.
constantly drawing
Like
me in
devil.
through music. Yes.
Mm.
Constantly sending me songs all the time. All the time. And
Wow.
yeah, that's what he was doing
Mm.
all the time.
So
Um,
So
I have a question, Christine.
at what point did you, sorry, Kevin, not to cut you off. At what point was there ever a point, I should ask, where you were like, oh my gosh, I sent this guy tens of thousands of dollars, or maybe even thousands of dollars, right? Because you said you got into debt 92K, right?
mhm.
Was there ever a point where you were like, I'm sending him a lot of money and maybe I should stop because all of this money now you have to pay back, right?
Right. Well, no, but yes. Here's the thing. This is what I did. In my own heart and in my mind, I had a certain amount of money that I'm not going to be able to send him anything after this point. If he keeps
Okay.
asking for something after this point, I know that I can live for 2 months.
Okay.
Okay. So I was like, I know I can live for 2 months on this amount of money. So if I have this amount of money and he asks for this portion, I can't give it to him.
Okay.
So that's what I thought. My sister, thank God for her. Thank God for my sister-in-laws. Thank God for my dad, my brothers. Thank God. I hit the lottery when I got the family I got. That's what I'm saying to you. I hit the
Okay.
lottery. And I told my family that in tears
Mm.
because they warned me, but even though they warned me, they didn't say, you stupid, why are you doing it? Why are you giving? You understand? Because they understood that I was going through. I wasn't well mentally.
Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. I suffered a huge loss. Because, like they say, when you lose your husband, not only do you lose your husband, you lose your friend, you lose the gardener, you lose the driver, you lose all of these secondary losses. That's what they call it in that class. Remember, I was
Right.
talking about grief share.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
telling you all the different things you lost when you lose that one man. When you lose one person, you lose a whole lot of things. You know?
Mhm. Yeah.
So, but the thing is, what was I going to tell you? I was going to tell you something.
About your family. You said your
Yeah.
family.
Yes, that I said that I won the lottery because of the family that I have. So they all understood. I took absolutely complete responsibility for what I did.
Okay.
I said, okay, this is the point where I am now. I have effed up. Can I say effed up? I can say effed up. I effed up big time.
Mm. Mm.
So here's the deal. I effed up big time. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? I was like, I will do whatever I have to do to keep my family afloat, to make sure that my kids are well. My kids knew. I told them what happened. I told them everything, and they were like, mommy, why? And they were really angry at that African guy. They were really angry with him. And I didn't want them to harbor that anger in them, because I know what that can do. That's not good. So I wasn't angry with him. I forgave him. I forgave him. And what do they call that sickness, or when the person
Stockholm syndrome.
Huh?
Stockholm syndrome.
There you go. Stockholm syndrome.
Did you ever get that dollar?
No.
No. He didn't.
Wow.
He
He
was a
didn't even
dollar?
send you back the dollar?
He didn't even
Woo.
send me back $1. That's why I said, so I'm going to be kind to him because of my kindness. What am I doing?
Right.
I'm heaping
Keeping
coals of
coals.
fire on his
Right.
head.
Right.
And that's what's happening to him.
Wow.
He still tries to contact me. He'll change an email and still try to contact me, or change whatever, because I blocked him. So he'll try to, get through another way or whatever.
So I'm again. You on finish? I got a question after that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so all right. So I'm looking at the timeline, right? Your husband passes. What year Eric passed?
He passed in 2018. This started I was looking at my phone. I think it was started in 2019. I got to look at the date, but I think it started like around December 2019, something like that. So,
All right. So go ahead.
right.
So,
go ahead.
so 2018 he passed. 2019 this started. Let's say it goes into 2020.
It did.
And now you're engaged. You just said.
And now who?
You said you said you have a fiance, right? You're
Yes, I
engaged.
do.
So I'm just curious, how were you able to trust somebody after that happened? I'm just curious.
I hope you ain't give him no money.
No, he gives me money.
Hey.
Oh,
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, we work together, so working with him is great.
All right.
Now, see, that's why I said you never know. That's why I told my kids, don't get angry when people do shit to you and bad things happen to you in your life. Oh, I said shit. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so I just realized I said it. Okay, so
all right.
When people do terrible things to you, is that better? When people do terrible things to you, you can keep out the other part, right? When people do terrible things to you, God has a way, and God has a way of, number one, healing you. But the first thing you have to do is forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself for being so stupid. Okay. Because I can admit it. I'm the first one to say, man, Christine, you were dumb. I would say that, man, what? How did you not know? Like, what is wrong with you? You understand? Like, what is wrong with me? But at that time, and I thought that there was nothing wrong with me. I didn't realize that I was still going. Because remember, I told you I was in grief share, but I didn't start grief share for a while.
Okay.
I didn't start going I probably started in 2019 grief share.
Okay.
2019 is when I started. I didn't start in 2018. I didn't want to see anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. So yeah, so when I finally I wasn't healing until then. And I went, grief share is like a 13-week program. I went like 3 13-week programs. That's 39 weeks.
Wow.
It took me that long to get to a place where I felt like, okay, I can do things now. You understand? It took a while. It takes a while. I mean, I was married for 21 years? I was married a long time. A very long time. My husband didn't even make it to age 50. He didn't make it. Okay, so what I'm saying is that I was married a very long time, but you know, it was a terrible loss. Okay, but I would say that in my grief and all that I was going through, I was looking for love, right? But that's the thing I was going to tell you, is that whenever you're looking for something, if it's love, you're looking for the college to go to, you're looking for this thing or that thing. In my life, this is how it always goes. The first thing I find is always the fake. Then the second thing I find is always the real thing.
Mm.
The first thing I find is always the fake. So I thought that this guy was the real thing, but it wasn't. It was the guy that came after. And the reason I had to go through that, and God showed it to me, because I was like, why, God? Like, seriously, why did I go through that? What were you trying to teach me in that? Because that's always my question. God, why did this happen? And why do I have to go through this? And what do you want me to learn from it? Like, I'm not like, F you, God, and this, and I'm not like that. I'm just like, well, why? So, and sincerely, why? And God showed me why. Because I showed you pictures, right? The fake pictures. So he showed me that he had a wife that died. He showed me he had 2 kids, right? And I'm telling you, I always thought, ain't no way I could be with somebody with kids. Ain't no way. You know what I mean? They're not my kids and this and that. But going through that fake stuff, being able to put my mind in a place where I could be with somebody with kids. I could. And not only that, I'm going to tell you something else too. That I told you that I was a PK. And when you're a PK, you're a Christian, you kind of have this kind of air about you. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I shouldn't say that, but you got
I know what you mean.
like, like
arrogance.
And like you think you're the stuff.
Right.
And going through that situation, not just losing my husband, but going through the situation where somebody took advantage of me and where I was acting stupidly and not thinking, that humbled the HELL out of me. That humbled me.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That humbled me. And that prepared me for the man who I was going to meet next. That prepared me. Because if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have given that man the time of day. A lot of women, I remember my grandmother used to say to us grandchildren, she would say to our granddaughters, marry a man who loves you, not who you love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Marry a man who loves you. My daughter said, that doesn't make any sense. You guys get it?
I get it. My mama used to tell us the same thing. Yep, I get it.
So wait, Christine. So for those in the back, what's that really mean? For those in the back.
What that means is, it doesn't mean you don't have to love a man. It doesn't mean that. But when a man loves a woman, he will move heaven and earth for her. He will do for that woman because he loves her. He will drive up and pick her up from the hair salon when it's raining and her hair is done, and he will go up to that door and I'm telling you, you're laughing, right?
That sounds familiar.
I know, that's why I started laughing.
Yeah.
When a man loves a woman, boy, you can't get in between that. But see, the woman has to appreciate and accept and receive that love. And a woman is all, well, I'm gonna find somebody I love.
Christine, you sound like you need to be speaking in church on Sunday. I'm sorry, man.
Women gotta appreciate, when you have a man who loves you, you better appreciate him. Appreciate him. Don't take it for granted. Because he's given you everything. My brother said to me, Christine, I'm gonna tell you how you know a man loves you. Because you know what a woman always does? Well, do you love me, baby? Why do you love me? Right? I used to ask my husband that all the time. Why do you love me? Why me, baby? Why? Right? Why do you love me? I want to know why. But you have to just accept that he loves you. And you know how you know he loves you? He's giving you money.
Well, where did the accent come from? Where did the accent come from?
Way down deep in there, man. He's giving you money. When he's giving you money and he's helping you take care of your bills, that man loves you because he don't have to do that.
Okay.
Okay, all right. I'm hearing you.
Yeah, unless you're talking about child support, something like that. Oh, there's a way to get out. There's a way to get out of it. But anyway, look, here's the thing. Yeah, that's another time.
That's another podcast.
That's another podcast. So look, here's the thing. I realized that God took me through that time in my life to humble me, to prepare me for the jewel he had next for me. Because the man I have now, he has children.
Okay.
I was prepared for that because of all the crap that I went through with this other guy, with the African guy. Okay. The man who I have now, he is younger than me. I'll say that too. I always thought I want a man who's older than me, but he's younger than me, but he has an older spirit. The man who I'm with now, he's very different from Eric. Okay. He's not a very quiet soul and strong, but he's a bold and that soul, like, you know what I mean? Like he's a how do I put it? I don't know. Because he might watch this, so I have to be careful. Oh yeah. So you see, I'm be careful what I say. He's a real nigga. He's a real nigga. Okay. No.
Oh my God! Wow. Yo, we went from a PK
Wait a minute.
to the death of your husband to
Wait a
a real one. Oh my God! Wow!
Christine.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I'm
Wow.
lost for words.
That's all I gotta say.
He's
Wow!
a real nigga. and I love my nigga.
Oh wow!
Oh. You're right to laugh.
Oh my
Oh
God!
Jesus.
Oh my. So he would appreciate that. He would appreciate that.
I think so.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. But yeah.
Yeah.
I think he'll appreciate that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He listens to rap music. That's something that I didn't grow up with. I didn't listen to that. My husband didn't listen to that. He likes to rap music. You know, he's very different. Okay.
Okay.
What?
Have you guys set a date for the wedding?
Huh?
Have you guys set a date for the wedding?
That's a whole nother story.
Oh.
I don't believe in marriage certificates because that's a union between a man, a woman, and the state. The state is involved. Okay. And there's I'm not gonna do that.
So y'all not getting married?
We're not getting married in what you believe marriage is, where a woman is standing before a pastor or a what do you call it, justice of the peace, and the man is standing there and they sign a certificate. I'm not doing that.
Okay. What are you guys gonna do?
We're gonna do something more unique. And I'll let you know. But
Okay.
I want to put that out here. But
Okay.
here's the thing. We'll do something unique. But here's the thing. Because you gotta ask.
Y'all gonna jump the broom?
No. Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Oh God!
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm just asking. You said you're gonna do something unique.
Yeah, unique.
Okay.
Yeah, something different. And it's something that we want to do something different. I don't want to just do because everybody else does this particular thing. I don't want to do what everybody else does just because they do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff I don't do just because everybody does. I don't do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So where are we now? Okay, I guess we talked about the African dumbass. We talked about the African guy.
We're gonna have to do a lot of editing.
Or maybe we'll just let this one go and just let them get the real her.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So how did he teach you about scamming though? Because you let that slip earlier that he was like teaching you stuff.
He taught
How
me
did you get to that point?
after he finally came clean. He called me and on a video call. And
you gotta make a movie about this.
And he said, I'm this is the real me. My name is Max. Okay, I could say that. I'm gonna say it. He said his name was Max. His real name was Max.
Wait. He's Nigerian and his name is Max.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
That's probably a
Yeah,
lie.
that's why I was like, right. And I'm Santa
Yeah.
Claus's wife. Right. Okay, so yeah, so here's the thing. He said his name was Max. That's what he said. I'm just telling you what he said.
All right.
So he said that, and he showed me himself, and he talked to me, and it was weird because I saw his voice coming out of this other face that I didn't realize. Because I remember telling when I thought it was a white man, okay, or I'll say a Caucasian man, when I thought it was that, I was like, well, do you understand about melanated women? You understand our hair? Do you understand that, we're a little different? And he was like, yeah, and laughing. And then it was like, oh my God, this guy, he was melanated all along. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was like, it was funny because I was trying to teach him cultural differences. And
he was black all the time.
yeah.
You
Black-
know, watch
black-
a special on that, and they said they do that on purpose because black
What
women
on purpose?
trust. They use white pictures, white men, the scammers, because they said black American women trust white men more than black men.
Oh, that's
Really?
true for me.
So
That's
they use,
sad.
when they're scamming, that's what they use because they
Wow.
black American women are more trusting of white men.
Yeah, that would make sense.
You're listening to the Kind Counseling Podcast. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Now back to the show.
Wrote me, I don't know who it was, and sent me another picture of a different white man. And he told me whenever they send you a picture, he said, whenever a scammer sends you a picture and they go, oh, I'm in Las Vegas right now. And then you'll see, Las Vegas in the back and a picture of a guy and you think it's him. Then you say, oh, well, take that same picture and put your hand on your forehead for me. Put your right hand on your forehead. Because what they do is they buy a set of pictures, like they'll steal people's stuff off of Facebook or whatever. They'll steal it and they'll buy it on the black web or on the dark web. And so they'll buy a set of pictures, a set of videos.
Right.
Like if they find you, I'm not on Facebook, but that if they find you on Facebook or find you and they say, oh, this looks like a good picture, let's get some of his stuff, we'll buy that. Okay, so they'll buy those and then they'll use that as their new mask, who they are.
Right.
Wow.
So he said if it is a scammer and they're sending you pictures and videos, always, if you think it's a scammer, if you suspect it, then tell them, okay, well, could you please send me a picture of you, with your finger up your nose? Hey,
Okay.
will you send me a picture of, something like that? Or send me a video right now of this or that.
Yeah.
And if they make an excuse, oh, I can't do that because yeah,
Red flag.
sure,
Right.
red flag. So he told me that, and that was a very good tip. And like I told you, the other tip was if you're a woman, you're going through this because men go through scams too. The men are getting scammed too, but everybody's too embarrassed to say it. They're really scared to tell people that they're being scammed. But what was I going to say to you? Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. Because Cammie, you asked me earlier, you said, well, how in the world were you able to trust somebody after that? That's what you asked.
Right.
And I was going to say to you, the way I was able to trust somebody was because I know you guys might think I'm crazy, but believe it or not, when I saw the picture of that white guy, I saw that picture sometime like in the past. Like I saw the picture and it was like I've already been through this, like I've already seen it already. I don't know if that's like a deja vu.
Okay. All right.
It was like a deja vu. And not only that, my daughter said to me, I recognize him. And she never seen him before. And she said, this is like a deja vu to me too. So I felt in my spirit that I had to go down this path. Because I'll tell you the truth, if I didn't go down this path, I wouldn't have met the man I'm with now. I would not have met him. I know I wouldn't have met him. The reason I met him was because I was trying to find a way out of the debt. I was trying to find a way out of the debt. What do I need to do? Administrative process. Do I do a suit? You know what I mean? A suit against the what do you call it? The credit card companies, and learning about securities and things like that. What's actually happening in the background. So once I learned about those things, I met this guy. That's how I met him, because he was going to help me. Okay. And
Okay.
so that's how I met him. And I would not have met him if I didn't go through what I went through. So I am so glad I went through it. I am
Wow.
so glad. And that's why I say, so anything that you go through in life, you have to find the what do they call it? The silver lining or something like
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. There's always good. And there's a book that I studied with my kids when my husband died, and that book really helped. I bought them all a copy. It was a book about the secret to life. And the secret to life is gratefulness. And
Mm.
so that book for 30 days takes you through all of these tasks that you have to do. Like it'll say, you know, like day one, write down 10 things that you're grateful for. You know, I made my kids keep a journal and write down the 10 things that they're grateful for. And if they wanted to share it, they could. If they didn't, you know, we would meet every single night. And I would talk to them after my husband died. We'd meet every night, and I would talk to them about what I was going through that day and ask them what they were going through. You know what I mean? So that they could get stuff out.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I figured it was what they needed, because they didn't want to go to a counselor, you know?
I
Yeah.
got you. I
So
got you.
so then it's like, okay, I guess I'll do it, you know? But the thing is that I'm very thankful and for the things that I've been through with that guy, because I felt in my heart I was supposed to go through it.
Mm.
I had to go through it. That's like
That's a big lesson.
Yeah.
you have to
That's
go
a big
through it.
lesson.
You have to get to the other side. You have to.
Mm.
So it changed my life forever. It took me down a different path, and I had to go down that path. I
Yeah.
had to go down that path. My mom always used to say, don't ask God to give you more patience. She said, don't ask for that. She said, if you
Oh,
ask God for that, you're also asking him for things bad to happen in
yeah,
your life.
trials.
Trials.
Yeah.
Because trials, patience comes from that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't ask for that. So there's certain things you shouldn't ask for. Be careful what you pray for. You know, they say that.
Yeah, because you'll get it.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
might not realize you got it that way,
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
like which way you got it. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's very
So,
interesting.
so Christine, how did you get out of I guess, you know, because you said you had good credit and everything like that. How did you get out of having to pay all that debt and you know, I mean 92K is a huge amount of debt to
It
have.
is.
Yeah,
Well,
so
I'm gonna tell you this. This is what I do for a living now. So this is what I'll say to you. Ooh, this is a deep conversation. Should I even go there? Okay.
Hey, you brought us this far.
Yes, I did. When you buy a house, did you ever see any of the money that you borrowed?
no.
Okay. Okay. The only way I could really teach you this part is to go through United States codes with you, or the UCC with you, commercial codes. Okay? Because what you think is never what is real. What you think is real is not real. Debt is not real. You are, what's the word? You are paying debt with debt. A dollar is a note. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
A note is evidence of a debt. So when you have, that's why I asked you, or saying earlier about money. What is money? We don't have money. Money is gold and silver. That's all that money is. So then what is a FRN, or a Federal Reserve note? It's a note. That means it's evidence that there's a debt. So we are paying debts with debts. And according to the law, there are ways to discharge your debt. I don't really want to go too far into this, okay?
Okay.
I'll say to you this. I'm not fully out of the what do you call it? Out of the dark yet, with credit. And the reason is because I should I say this? God, what should I do? Okay. I want to be careful what I say because I know that there are other entities that listen, okay? But I will
Okay.
say this. I'll say this to you, and that is when you think that you owe something, you are actually owed something yourself. And I know that it's hard to say that because people don't believe that. Like if I said to you, do you pay taxes? And you say yes. And I say, why are you doing that? Do you know that paying taxes is voluntary? Did you know that? And then you're like, no, I thought we had to pay taxes. Da, da, da. Well, it's voluntary, but that's not something that most people want to hear because the people don't know the law. So many people don't know. They just do what everybody else tells them to do or does, right? So that's why it makes it really, really hard. I want to say some things to you, but if I say some things to you on this platform right now, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there right
Okay.
now.
All right.
I
So
think-
right. So whatever you're comfortable with. Don't feel like
okay,
you
this
know.
I'll say this to you. Remember when I said be careful what you pray for?
Right.
Okay. I prayed and I have in my book, okay, all the things that I asked God for, because before the man that I have now, before he came into my life, I have a list of what I wanted in a man. Before I married my husband, Eric, I had a list of what I wanted in a man, and he was everything on that list. Okay. The man that I'm with now, he's everything on that list. In that list, I also had a list of some of the financial things that I wanted to attain. And one of the things on my list I wrote on there, which I should not have, but I know that now. I said, I don't want to be able to live with credit. I don't want to need credit anymore. That's what I said. And when I said that, and when I put that there, I don't need credit anymore. My credit right now is not very good, and it's because of suits that I have against certain entities, banks. Okay. And yeah, so I don't want to really say too much about that, but
Okay.
but I will say that but I don't need it anymore. I have no need for it, and God is good. Okay. God is good because I don't need it right now. I don't need it in my life. However, but there is a use for it. There's a use for it. And so what else do I say about that? I don't know what else to say about that. I think
Okay. So let's shift gears, right? Because let's shift gears, right? So
Okay.
so obviously you've gone through a lot of different things in your in your life, right? I mean, so obviously that's why we have you, right? So would you say you're at a place now where you feel like stable emotionally, like you feel like, in the sense of like, because you've had I'd say three significant losses in your church home, your mom, and your husband, right? Because those are huge parts of your life.
Yes, they are.
And so you feel like at this point, like you kind of like stabilized emotionally, or like you still struggle with those losses? What would you say?
No, I don't struggle with those losses anymore. Losses are the best way to get over things like that, if you want to say that, is gratefulness. So I'm grateful for my husband. I'm grateful for Eric, for all that he taught me and all that he gave me, all the love that he gave me. I'm grateful for him, and I have fond memories and good things. And it feels to me, even though he passed in 2018, it feels like he passed like 20 years ago. It feels like it was so long. It feels like a different lifetime for me.
Wow.
I told my kids that, and I told other people that. And so, other people who haven't experienced a loss like that, they may not understand how I feel because they haven't moved on. There are some people in my life who said to me, well, I don't want to see you with someone else because it'll always be Christina and Eric for me. It'll always be that. And I'm like, well, I moved on.
Right.
I moved on because I know that my husband Eric would have wanted me to move on. Eric would have wanted me to move on. Just like if it was me that left first, I would want him to move on and have a happy life. You understand? But then people think, and oh, well, I have to say this to you because Eric, after he passed, 5 months later, his dad passed of cancer. 5 months later.
Wow.
So his
Wow.
mother, my mother-in-law, she lost her son first, and she only had one son.
Wow.
And then she lost her husband 5 months later.
Hmm.
Wow.
And that woman, I love her so much, even more today. I still talk to her all the time. And she said to me, she said, Christine, you're going to meet an even better man than Eric. And Eric was her son.
Mm.
And she encouraged me.
Wow.
She said, you're going to meet someone. You understand?
I got you.
And I thank God for her every single day because she encouraged me to find love, if you will. Because I didn't go after love, but she told me, hey, you see that part of the bed, the part that's empty? She said, pray over it. Pray over that side of the bed. Pray for the man who's going to lay there next to you because somebody's going to come one day and he's going to be there with you.
Mm.
Yeah. So I have, God has really, really blessed me because before my husband died and her husband died, since I was the widow first, then she was a widow. And then I started encouraging her and telling her what I was learning in Grief Share because she didn't go. She didn't go. So I would tell her and get my notebook out and say, hey, we learned this, or we learned this scripture and it goes with this, and and stuff like that. And just to encourage her. You know what I mean? But I mean, God has been good. I'm very, very happy. Very happy. I'm very, very happy.
You look very happy.
Yeah, God's been good. And yeah, maybe you'll get to meet the man that I'm with now. And he always says I'm taking his youth from him. That's what he says.
Okay. Hey, is that a good thing?
Maybe, but I love life. Life is great. And no matter what comes, life is great. Life it's exciting to be here and to learn things and meet new people and go through stuff. Even the sad parts. Like I told my kids, I don't want you to go through heartbreak and stuff like that, but that will take you to the next level. There's certain things you got to go through to learn in life. And it's not because it's not sin that made you have to go through it. It's life. It's life. It's a beautiful thing called life. And you're going to go through it. You're going to meet people who are going to lie to you and cheat you and betray your trust. And there's going to be people who talk bad about you and stuff like that. You're always going to have people like that, but they make life more exciting. They really do. Because I know you're smiling, but they do. It's really boring.
Well, life would be boring if everything went perfectly. So I got you.
Yes. Now I can tell you about my son, my middle son. When we adopted him, he was how old was he? I think 7 weeks old when we adopted him. And my father-in-law, he said to us, why did you adopt him? You shouldn't have, adopted a baby. You should have asked me to go to God at first for you. And I'm like, God doesn't only talk to you. God talks to everybody. Okay. So us and told us that's what we're supposed to do. Okay. Because I didn't want to have my oldest son to be really selfish. And I saw him, just being really selfish. And I wanted him to have we tried, and boy, did we have fun trying, but we didn't have another baby. So yeah, you get what I'm saying, Okay, so we had a good time, right? So
Hey, you
had a good time trying, but nothing came.
Okay.
And so God put it on my heart, you guys need to adopt. And my husband, Eric, God put it on his heart, you need to adopt, but we never said anything to each other. Then one day I came to him and I said, hey, how do you feel about adoption? He was like, oh, really? He said, I felt the same way, but I didn't know how you would respond. And I'm like, no, I want to adopt. And he was like, okay. So we went through the process. And when you're adopting a baby, if you get pregnant during that first year, they will not allow you to have that child. So we were trying to have one on our own. Okay. Right. And I remember my son saying, "Where'd this baby come from? Give him back, give him back. I don't want him here." Because, he was used to being the only child. And so no, we had that child. I was very, very happy, and it was the best baby ever because I had no stretch marks. I mean, none. It was just great. So this is what I'll say though. Adopting a child, I always used to think that if you adopt a child, you can control how they're going to turn out. If I teach them how to eat at the table with a knife and a fork, and I teach them this and I teach them that, they're going to be like a little Christine running around, but that's not the truth. Everybody has DNA. Everybody has DNA. Everybody has a family history. So whether you know it or not, you are like your family. You are. But it doesn't mean you're doomed to be like your family if you don't want to be. So it's like what'd you say?
I said nature versus nurture.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. So it's like it takes a lot of, I'm looking for something to show you. Like if you had Play-Doh and you kept putting your finger in the Play-Doh like this and creating a groove in the Play-Doh. Now, if you had a groove in the Play-Doh and then you turn the water on, it's going to go through the groove, right? And that's your life. That's the path of your life, that groove. And when you're in a family group, there's a groove there. Okay. Like everybody does the same thing. Like they all do this, or they all do this, or whatever. Okay. Or they all have a certain mark, you know what I mean, on their body because they're in the same family. So that creates the groove and the water goes through it. But in order for the water to come off of that groove and go a different path, it takes a lot of willpower to do that, but it can happen. And I remember my adopted son, he would say to me, David would say, his name is David, which is funny. He would say to me, I don't know why, I just feel weird or I feel different. And we did tell him he was adopted because I didn't want to lie to him. So I did tell him. And he always wondered why. And he was very angry about that, very angry that, his birth mother would give him up. But I told him, are you kidding me? You're the child of choice. We chose to have you. We didn't choose to have the other two. They just came. Whatever came.
Yeah.
So chose you.
Yeah.
Chose you. So you were chosen. And so I told him, you're blessed because of the family that you have. But I think for years he struggled with, that being adopted. Then, his dad died and all this stuff happened. But when he was about 17, he joined a gang. And he joined a gang. Starts with a C. Okay.
Oh.
Big gang.
Whoa.
Joined the gang. And so he and I used to hit heads a lot because I didn't like the people he was around, and I didn't like his attitude towards me, and I wouldn't allow it. So he saw that I wouldn't allow it, and he decided he was going to take off at 17. So he left at 17. And one day a sheriff brought him back, like maybe a month or 2 months later. It wasn't very long after that they brought him back, and they brought him back. He stayed here in the house for a while. Then he finally said to me, I have to go. I just feel like the outside, like the world is calling me. I got to go. So I said, okay. I said, if you want, you could stay here because, you could save money. You can get an education. You can do, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. But he wanted to go. So I said, go. Okay. So he did. And he lived on the streets. I was asking him, recently, how, what have you gone through? What are the things that you've been through? And he was telling me all this stuff. He allegedly was stealing cars, and he got very good at it. But here's the thing. I said allegedly. Okay. Now, here's the thing. He has had a very colorful life. And I don't mean colorful like gay. Okay. I don't mean that. I mean, because he likes women's. But what I'm saying is that he had a colorful life because he's been through hell and back. Okay. But recently, what he said, when he was arrested and he was in jail for a while, he was calling me, and he was upset because his friends weren't answering their phone and weren't talking to him. And he just said to me, Mommy, I realized that you really love me, and that what you were doing for me, you were just trying to help me. I realize that now. And he said, all those people who said that they were my friends, they weren't there for me. He said, but you were there for me.
Mm.
You were actually there for me. And I said, yeah, I love you, and all the stuff that he did. Oh God, he did so much stuff, but I forgave him for everything. He even stole my car and effed it up. Okay.
Wow.
Yes, he did. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes. He
Okay.
effed it up. Okay.
Okay. Wow.
Mhm. He did.
Mm.
But he did also pay for it. But right now he's in a program, and he's working as in construction, and he gives me money every single week. He gives me money. He's trying to pay me back for all the stuff all the money that I ended up having to spend out for him and for the things that he did. And he's paying me back now, and he thanked me. You know what I mean? For being there for him. And that made me cry, because I was like, oh my God, I didn't think he would get to that point until he was 40. I really didn't. He's so immature, but all the things that he's been through life has taught him something. And that's why I thank God for it. Because even when he left, and he left my house, he left my protection. And when he did, I said, well, God, I guess I got to let go of the illusion of control. I don't have control. And I really don't. Even when your kids are with you, you think you got control, but you don't. You can't control everything. You can't be everywhere at all times. You don't know what's going on. You think you do, but you don't. So that's why you have to pray over your children. You got to pray for them. You got to pray for them, because God will protect them, and God does keep them. He really does, even when you're not around. And God will give them people. If they don't listen to you, then I was praying, okay, God, he's not going to listen to me. Put someone in his life that he will listen to. That's what I prayed for. And he met some older man in jail that really helped him. You know what I mean? And gave him good advice.
Okay.
And it's nothing but God. So that's why I'm thankful that he went to jail. I'm happy. And you probably won't hear this from a lot of other people, but I was telling my family, I said, hey, David's in jail. I know where he is now. And I'm so happy he's in jail, because now I know where he is. Because before I didn't know where he was. I didn't know if he was alive, dead. I didn't know what happened to him. But but I am so happy. I'm so happy, because I know where he is, and he's doing well now. And I just thank God for it. I thank God for it. So there's a lot of pain in this life. There's a lot, but you can't focus on the pain. You don't focus on that. Instead, you say, why, God? Why? Why did I go through? But not, why, God? Why me? Not like that kind of attitude, but an attitude of truly brokenness, where you're trying to learn why. Because let me tell you something. When you ask God why, and you're sincerely asking him, he will give you an answer. He will tell you why. You will know why. But it can't be I'm pissed at you, God, because of what you did to me, or why you let this happen. It can't be like that. It's got to be why, because there's a reason for everything. And I guess that's how I look at life. Things happen in people's lives. Everything happens for a reason. Everything. I don't care what it is. Even my husband's death happened for a reason, because the things that I'm doing now, and the court battles that I'm doing now, he wouldn't have been able to handle that. It's a lot. He wouldn't have been able to handle me doing what I'm doing. You understand? So it's like, so I realized that was a portion of my time, and that my time that went to him. And during that time, I had to, that was me. That was, Mrs. Robinson. I was his wife. And that's the other thing I wanted to talk to you about a woman and her identity. Because I'm not one of these, women, we don't need men and all. That's a bunch of nonsense. Yeah, of course we need men. That's so stupid. I don't understand how a woman could think that. Okay. That's just crazy to me. And, but to each his own. But no, I need a man. Okay. And men are important, because with the woman and the man together, when they're together, you can do anything. Anything. You can overcome, you can do anything in this world if the two of them are as one. So to me, it's very important for a woman to have a man, and for her to have the covering of a man. It's very important. It's like so important. But I know I'm not part of that group that thinks that they don't need men. Okay, because that's to me, that's foolishness. Okay, God made our bodies different for a reason. Men can lift things, men can do things, and men have the way that they think is different than the way that we think. But when we put our thinking together, and my husband Eric used to tell me, think like a man. You need to start thinking like a man. He would say, don't assume this and that about this person. Just ask him. So do you hate me? Why do you hate me? Why are you acting all funny? Why don't you answer your phone? He said, men don't do that, Christine. He said, we just straight up with each other, I'm like, okay, I can do that. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna just ask.
Oh my God.
Like, why are you acting all weird? So what you mad for? Like, I can't read your mind, and I'm not gonna try to read your mind. I'm just gonna ask you. You understand? So got any more questions?
Christine, I think we can literally be here all night if I ask you more questions. Okay. So clearly we need to check in with you in maybe in 6 months and see what's going on in your life, because you have a lot to share. Okay.
Yeah, you do. You do.
But we actually do have to stop. But listen, but seriously, I'm so grateful. Speaking of gratefulness, right? I'm so grateful for you sharing your story, because it's so encouraging, and so much that you overcome, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be helpful to so many people. And obviously we thank you for sharing your story, and we just obviously wish you the best. If you need some free counsel, call your little cousin.
Okay, I'll do that.
And she will.
Yes. In conclusion, if we're going to conclude now, I do want to say to all those that are watching and to you all that I appreciate the opportunity to share about my life. I guess I don't know if it was a good share or a bad share. I don't know, but I just want people to know that that bad things happen all the time, but it's not what happens in your life, but it's how you respond to it. It's how you react to it.
Amen.
And always react in gratefulness. Always react. So even though that man took 92,000, he didn't take 100.
Go.
He didn't take 100. Yeah, he didn't take $100 worth of my credit. You understand? He didn't take and he didn't take my life.
Yeah.
That's true.
And he didn't rape me.
That's true.
And so I'm thinking about, oh, well, it could have been this. It could have been, if it didn't happen that way though. So I'm happy. You know? So all the time, like even with my son going to jail, it's like, well, yeah, he went to jail. He didn't go to prison.
True.
Right? Nobody killed him. At least I know where he is. So it's like all the time, there's always something to thank God for all the time. All the time. Thankfulness should be a thing that you do all the time. When you wake up in the morning, thank you, God. I woke up. Now, what am I going to do today? Right?
Yeah.
And when you go to bed at night, thank you, God. Thank you. I made it through the day. Woo! I didn't get any accidents. I didn't get arrested. Right.
Absolutely.
I can tell you about a time I got arrested. I got arrested a couple times, but you didn't know that. Oh, so here's the thing. Yeah, and it was a learning experience.
That's gonna be another podcast.
I wanted to see what Black men go through. I wanted to see. So I got it.
Christine, we gonna wrap this up.
Yes. All right. Yeah, we could do that later. But life is fun.
Yes.
Go out there and live it.
All right.
Okay.
So,
thank you for your transparency, though, Christine.
Yeah.
It is refreshing.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
And Christine, be safe. Be safe out there.
All right. Thank you. I will.
And we're gonna come check you out in Colorado Springs.
All right. You do that anytime. You're welcome anytime.
All right.
Anytime.
All right, Christine. We'll talk.
All right. Have a good night.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for coming on.
Okay. All right.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
If I ever took a loss, I learned a lesson. I won't ever think I'm better than the I've been down before to come up, I ain't stressing. Baby, I'm too busy counting.